a psychological thriller. Copyright 2025. By Wdowski. Post-honeymoon. 7 months later. They returned to Sean's private island after a 1-month cruise that circumnavigated the world. It was their honeymoon trip after a very basic wedding. The wedding was nothing like Patricia's fairy tale wedding. They married in a courtroom by a judge. May had Minnie, Martha Ziegfeld, Patricia, and her husband as witnesses. Sean had only his mother and Rico. The ceremony itself was very Spartan. Her wedding dress was the only expensive element of the wedding. She wanted a white wedding gown, but Sean bought her an off-white, ivory-colored dress. Pure white is for virgins, he explained to her. Sean did not have a best man. The wedding reception was held in Sean's private office. His mother did the cooking. As it was a special occasion, he allowed her to join them for dinner. In spite the wonderfully cooked meal, the lack of romance and magic, May and all her guests felt was all very odd. At the end of the reception, they waved goodbye on the rooftop of the building as Sean and May took off in his helicopter to the Frugal in the middle of New York Harbor. The Frugal traveled constantly at 30 knots, never making a port of call. The honeymoon was an afterthought for Sean. May was extremely disappointed that they never stopped anywhere for sightseeing and enjoyment. They passed countless numbers of nations and cultures May had always dreamed of visiting, but still had not. The closest she could get to these exotic places in the world was peering through a telescope on the top deck. When she told Sean she wanted to make port, he would always reply, "No need. We have everything needed right here on the Frugal." He explained to her that the maiden voyage's primary goal was to prove that the Frugal did not need to stop for refueling and could maintain a high 30-knot speed. He told her other superyachts would cruise at 18 knots at best and need to stop for refueling 7 or 10 times. The trip would take a conventional diesel-powered craft nearly double the time and costing $2.1 million just for fuel. Fuel when burnt would pollute sea and air. May understood the importance of the demonstration of Sean's Frugal project, but it was not her idea of a world cruise or honeymoon. She also had to admit that Sean was right that the ship did have all the comforts of a 5-star resort hotel, but she would counter him with who wants to be locked in a luxury hotel for a month, with only water to see most days. The worst part of her honeymoon was that Sean spent most of his time alone in his onboard office on the satellite phone or computer doing business. May felt she was alone most of the time on the ship, with only the ship's stewards to converse with. Even the evenings, when they retired alone to the master stateroom, Sean's idea of making love was merely the 5 to 7 minutes it took for him to reach satisfaction. Afterwards, he would roll off her and fall fast asleep. Frustrated and unable to sleep, she would lay her head on her pillow with her back to Sean. She would stare out at the empty ocean nights through the portal window. Her thoughts reflected upon how John, in contrast, would passionately make love to her for hours at a time. John would always tell her that his pleasure was her pleasure. He loved being with her so much, he never wanted it to end. He purposely delayed his own satisfaction until she had at least 2 or more climaxes, each more intensive than the last. Sean's idea of love-making made her feel John was right. She had become a prostitute for only one paying customer. Sex was only about Sean's needs. It had nothing to do with her wants and desires. Returning to the private island, that was now her home, she felt she needed a vacation from her vacation. She looked forward to going to Manhattan with Minnie and or Patricia to have lunch at a high-priced restaurant after hours of talking and shopping. Sean took her bags off the helicopter and handed them to her as he grabbed his own bags. He led her to the house. Where is Amelia and Charles?" she asked, standing holding her bags. "Shouldn't they do this for us?" Sean stopped and turned around. His face was stern. "They are not here. You need to bring in your own bags. Once you put your stuff away, you need to start cooking dinner." "Why aren't they here? Didn't you let them know we are returning today? What about this week's chef?" "I let them all go," he answered. "You gave them a holiday." "No, I let them all go. I no longer need their services. I have you now." May was confused. "You fired the whole staff." She still had not moved with her bags. "I have you now. There is no need for me to spend nearly $400,000 a year in their salaries and benefits." He explained to her, "I even let Rico go." "Why would you let your personal assistant go? And what do you mean you have me now?" Sean put down his bags. He walked forcefully towards her, stopping to look down upon her. "You signed the prenup. I even agreed to your amendments. I will never cheat on you. I no longer need Rico's special services. I have you, my wife, for that. In the contract, it clearly states you are responsible for the maintenance of our home. Which part did you not understand? I no longer need to pay for a household staff. I now have a loyal, loving, and supportive wife. You were so generous when we were dating. It was hitting her deeply what she had signed on to. Like anything, you have to make investments. Over time, your duties will outset any cost a household staff and Rico's special services would have been. Like my mother, you wanted a successful and rich man, yes? Well, now you have one. You have expensive designer clothes, handbags, shoes, and a mansion to live in. All provided to you for my hard work. All for the simple exchange of being a loyal wife who cares for our home and my needs as a man. It was all spelled out, and you agreed to the terms, Mrs. Brighton. The end.